I've got a super helpful, super informative video coming your way today. Like, you might want to hit pause right now to run and grab a pen and some paper because I have a feeling you're going to want to take some notes. For the best advice about moving to Mexico, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I upload a new episode every Thursday. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alex, and I moved to Mexico from the US in 2017. I've called Querétaro home ever since. In today's video, I am breaking down the steps and giving you the ultimate checklist for moving to Mexico. What you need to do in the months leading up to your big move. Visas, insurance, downsizing, it is enough to make you want to pull your hair out, and in some cases make you second guess whether you really want to move to another country at all. Moving to another country, moving to Mexico is possible, and you do not need to feel overwhelmed. Respect the task, but know that it is doable. Before we dive into the moving to Mexico checklist, I want to know, let me know in the comments where you are in your moving to Mexico timeline. Are you still a couple years out, still dreaming, or are you in the final countdown? Do you have that ticket booked? Are you ready to go? Let me know in the comments below. First up, we've got research Mexico's visa requirements. This is really not something that you want to leave until the last minute, because if you decide to apply for residency in Mexico, know that you will need to do that at a consulate outside of Mexico. So it's a good thing to take care of while you're still in your home country. I've got a lot of videos on my channel talking about getting temporary residency in Mexico, and I'm going to put a card for one here right now. I will also link it in the description below, but definitely give that a watch to see if a temporary residency is the right fit for you. Another option is permanent residency, and if you're planning on retiring to Mexico, that might be the option for you. The economic solvency requirements are significantly higher than temporary residency, so it's definitely something that you are going to want to take a look at and see if you're a fit for. Now, if you go through and you look at the permanent residency requirements, if you look at the temporary residency requirements and think, okay, wait, I'm not a fit for either of those, you still can move to Mexico. Mexico has a very generous tourist visa for passport holders from Canada, from the US, from a whole list of countries. You can find that with a Google search. But Mexico has a very generous tourist visa, 180 days. That visa resets pretty much immediately. You got to get out after 180 days, but then when you come back, if that's a week later, a month later, whatever, that will immediately reset and you get another 180 days. Now, this isn't something that you want to use for years and years and years in Mexico, but it can help you get started, help you test out life in Mexico and see if it's really the best fit for you. Next, check the validity of important documents. Your passport. Check that baby right now, regardless of when you are planning on moving to Mexico, and look at the expiration date. If your expiration date is coming up within 6 months of your move to Mexico, then you are definitely going to want to make a plan for renewing that while you're still in your home country. Another important document to bring with you when you move to Mexico is your marriage certificate. Of course, that's only applicable if you're married. Prior to coming to Mexico, it needs an apostilla. Now, that is a stamp that makes your document, that makes your marriage certificate valid in Mexico. You can get an apostilla at the consulate, at the Mexican consulate, and sometimes, depending on your state, depending on where you live, there's a chance that the Secretary of State will do it as well. Number 3, save for startup costs. I really encourage you to save even more than you'll think you'll need for those first few months of getting settled in Mexico, because surprise costs always seem to pop up. I know in my personal experience, in my case, when I moved to Mexico, when I moved to Querétaro, I really thought I was going to be able to find a furnished apartment, and I didn't save money to furnish an apartment. So in the end, when we did end up having to take an unfurnished place and we had to buy a sofa and buy a bed and buy pots and pans, it was a stretch, to say the least. It's a good idea to research, to read up on the cost of living in the city where you plan on living in Mexico. I've got a couple videos here on my channel about Querétaro, about the cost of living in Querétaro, so those should help get you started. But beyond that, beyond the day-to-day, month-to-month living, please be sure that you are saving up enough for those initial startup costs. Leave yourself some wiggle room. Number 4, organize your finances. You know that you need to have money when you move to Mexico, but you also need to know how you're going to access that money. When I moved to Mexico, now this is one of the major mistakes I made when I moved to Mexico. When I moved to Querétaro, I did not have a plan for how I was going to access my money. I thought, oh, I will just open a bank account, but that is not possible on a tourist visa. That is one of the few things that you cannot do with a tourist visa in Mexico. Since I wasn't able to open a Mexican bank account, I just kept drawing money out of the ATM with my regular old debit card. And those fees, which didn't seem like a lot at first, really started to add up. I highly recommend, if you are from the US, if you're a resident of the US, opening a bank account with Charles Schwab, opening a checking account with them. It's free to do so. There is no minimum balance, and they reimburse you for your ATM fees at the end of every month. Number 5, investigate insurance options. While healthcare in Mexico is much more affordable than healthcare in the US, a big major diagnosis is still, it's not something that you're going to be able to pay for out of pocket. The occasional doctor visit, prescription, whatever, yes, but something major, it's still going to set you back thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. When I first moved down to Mexico, for the first month or two while I was settling in, I had travel insurance with World Nomads. World Nomads had me covered until I signed on with Grupo Nacional Provincial, a private health insurer in Mexico. Of course, that's by no means the only option for private health insurance in Mexico, and I recommend that you do your own research to see what works for you. Number 6, start learning Spanish. Really, I probably could have moved this up on the checklist because learning Spanish before you move to Mexico is going to make your life so much easier once you're actually in Mexico. Especially those first few weeks, those first few months when you are getting settled in, when you are finding an apartment, when you are setting up different accounts, when you're making friends, the more Spanish you know, the easier, the smoother that transition is gonna be. I'm sure I sound like a broken record. I feel a bit like a broken record for all of the times that I have said this on my channel, but please do not wait until you get to Mexico to start learning Spanish. Start now, start before you move. You will be so glad that you did. Number 7, connect with people in your new city. You know who could really give you some good advice about how to successfully move to Mexico? Someone who's already successfully moved to Mexico. This is an item that I personally wish I would have spent more time doing before my move to Mexico. Because when I got to Mexico, I didn't really know anybody. I was starting from square one. On the other hand, through my community here on YouTube, I've interacted with a lot of people who have spent time in the forums, spent time in the Facebook groups. They've connected with people through YouTube, through blogs, and they already have a little network set up for themselves when they arrive in Mexico. If you're wondering where to get started creating your Mexico community, I highly recommend checking out the Move to Mexico membership. That is the membership that I run for people interested in moving to Mexico and many people who already have moved to Mexico. It's a really fun group, great energy, really motivational, really inspiring. We've got lots of good resources, monthly Q&A videos, monthly mixers via Zoom, and a forum where you can connect with other members and ask them questions, share resources as you prepare for your own move to Mexico. Number 8, declutter. Before I moved to Mexico, I went through everything that I brought back from Spain with me. I went through everything in my childhood room at my parents' house. I looked at every single thing that I own, took an inventory, and when I was holding those items, I would ask myself, is this something that I can see using, that I can see having? Does this item have a place in my life in Mexico? And I know that seems like a lot to think about, but in a split second, Marie Kondo style, I made a decision, yes or no. And honestly, when I look back to the 3 bags that I packed and brought with me to Mexico, I didn't feel like there was anything that I was missing. Many of you have told me that you are trying to downsize an entire house, places that you've lived for decades, and that is a much bigger, much more intimidating task. So you want to give yourself lots of time to do that. Have a garage sale, have several, sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. If you are stressing over the toaster, if you are stressing over the Instant Pot, I promise you, you will be able to find those things in Mexico, no problem. Number 9, find temporary housing. A lot of people will reach out to me, they'll leave comments, they'll send emails. They are on the hunt. They are trying to find a place to live in Mexico before they get to Mexico. They want to have all of their ducks in a row. They want to just get here and get settled in straight away. And while I totally understand that, you really do not want to sign a lease sight unseen. You want to be here on the ground in Mexico looking at different apartments, different houses before you say yes to one. Your best bet is to find temporary housing, to rent an Airbnb for a couple of weeks. A month is even better, and to just really give yourself some time to make connections and to get to know the area, to get to know the market, and be able to find a place that you really like. Number 10, say goodbye to friends and family. A lot of people like the idea of having a big going away party, being able to say goodbye to everybody at once. But I don't really think that's the best environment for telling people what they mean to you. It's nice to have a one-on-one exchange with someone. If talking about your feelings, if that seems too uncomfortable, then another option is to write somebody a letter. That can also be a really, really nice thing. You will likely be back to your home country. You will likely see your friends and family again, but you are moving. You're making a big move. Time is going to pass. Things are going to change. And in this moment, here and now, before you go, it's really important to tell people how you feel, to let them know what your relationship with them means to you. Number 11, pack your carry-on bag with essentials. There's a lot to do before your move to Mexico, and there will be even more to do after your move to Mexico. So when you arrive, you're really going to want to hit the ground running. You're going to want to start apartment hunting. You're going to want to go out and get to know your city. And it's hard to do that if the airline lost your luggage. You're going to want to have your passport, any other important documents, a change of clothes, your toiletries, any medication, and your electronics chargers. For the luggage that you do check, make sure that the luggage tag reads the address of your Airbnb. If you have any questions about preparing to move to Mexico or just living in Mexico in general, feel free to drop those in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up because that really helps to support my channel. I'm Alex from backpackingbrunette.com.